Thank you.
So, well, our topic of conversation is the Tinubu reforms announced 2 days ago. By all accounts, okay, let me just allow that. By most accounts, the overwhelming majority of people say that now that was a positive outing, and a lot of those concerns had been aired by the president, and but of course there is more. There is room for more, and in this context, I thought that when we call on you, another thing that most Nigerians will be aware of is that whereas they are heralding, and hailing Asiwaju's outing, they also there seems to be some worry that look, it's one thing for there to be the best of intentions coming out of the presidency, but how are we sure, because of our experience in the past in the country, that those that will be down the chain executing will indeed be doing what was conceived? And it then occurred to us that, wait a minute, if there's anything to that, it'll be a matter of the registration and recognition of people, So I said, because I know you worked in that regard, is there any interface with that idea and the present situation, for example?
Thank you, Uncle Yori. People will allude to the fact that, well, the people saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that the reforms, the palliatives, and all of that get to the intended beneficiaries. You can't fault and blame them because there's trust deficit in social governance. That is understandable. But now that we have a government that seems to be listening to us,
That's right.
Even the silent critics have agreed that, no. Brilliant speech, well-intentioned, more can still be done, but ensure that the ones that you want to do, the socially vulnerable people who are the intended beneficiaries, are indeed will be the people to benefit. And the way to go is to embrace technology.
Okay.
That is a system that does not give room for manipulation by human beings. And we have the technology with us. I mean, local.
We do?
Yes, I mean, without any spirit of immodesty, I own one that has been patented.
Okay.
And it is encapsulated under the principle of who, where, and how. Let me explain. Who are you? Government wants to cater for you. Government has a responsibility to cater for everybody, especially the poor. So we need to know.
And the rural area, those in rural
areas. And those, the socially vulnerable, the poor. And then the principle of where. Where do you live? As a government, if I want to cater for you, we're talking about social intervention here, subsidy. As you know who you are, identification anchored on facial recognition, and where you live, which is anchored and predicated on digital addressing system. And how? The mechanism. All of those should be taken into consideration when you are building up a register that will be credible, reliable, and will engender confidence. When people see that, they'll be prepared to, well, let's go along with this president that seems to be listening to us and give him a chance. And if we need to sacrifice, we will sacrifice, and then we'll then see the benefits emanating therefrom. But if you don't put that in place, it will be difficult. And this is what we have done. It's not rocket science. I wouldn't have gone into this if I hadn't been Postmaster General of Nigeria.
Okay.
And I haven't seen and realized, and in fact, looking at other jurisdictions, how the postal administration, that massive national infrastructure, can be used to lift people out of poverty. And it's simply by identifying the people and giving them addresses. We have mapped Nigeria into 300 billion 3 meters by 3 meters grid, each with a unique digital address that is imbued with state-of-the-art facial recognition. So once you adopt that, you have a register that the World Bank will be proud of, that Nigerians will be proud of, because it will engender confidence.
Yes.
If you want to spend X amount of money and you drive it, you use technology to drive it, a kobo will not be missing. That is what we need to urgently do in Nigeria.
You spoke about other jurisdictions, indicating that this might already be up and running elsewhere in the world. Where?
So, during the screening of Minister Wole, he's been cleared to, he's a minister to all intents and purposes. He said that Nigeria can adopt what...
Wale Edu.
Wale Edu, yes. Nigeria can adopt what they have done in India by adopting biometric.
Okay.
He used the word biometric. I will break it down. Yeah, biometric involves fingerprints and facial recognition.
Which Nigerians are familiar with through NIM, through their banks, through their, telephone companies.
So let me address the three. They all don't go far enough.
Okay.
And the last mile that will ensure that your NIN, that's what they call HADA in India, that Minister Wale Edu has alluded to. It's a functional equivalent of our NIN. It is a number. So if you give people NIN and you don't tie it to an address that you can validate, the job is not complete.
Does the NIN in the system that you are describing now, does it, well, no, it's not, what you are saying that can be taken from those ones that stop short, you know, are they flexible enough to be able to change? A man might be in Abeokuta now, and then he needs to be in Abuja for an extended length of time.
It is geolocated. We have geocoded Nigeria. So if you are moving from one place to the other, it is not a problem.
Okay.
What is important is that we know that you are moving, and facial recognition, it
will not change.
It will not change, isn't it? I mean,
neither will your biodata,
neither will it change. I mean, the cards, either debit card or the cards that the banks give to us, the fact that you move from one address to another does not invalidate it.
It doesn't.
Okay? Because you have biometrics involved.
Yes.
But what we are saying is that let the last mile of the digital identification process, which is the address, be combined with it. And then you have a foolproof social register that you can rely on, and that in itself will assist you in planning for people. Because there's nowhere in the world where governments want to plan for the people without knowing who the people are. Recall I said it is encapsulated in the principle of who, where, and how. Without knowing who the people are, where they live, and how you want to plan for them. There are various mechanisms to use. Let me stress this. As innocuous as it is, addressing, people will be wondering, why is this man always talking about addressing? It gives you an insight, knowledge of how you can lift the people from poverty. Go to any jurisdiction where there's nowhere you don't have one subsidy or the other. If government gives you a tax rebate, it's a form of subsidy. But no government that I know in the Western world will give you a subsidy without knowing, hey, you are Mr. So, and you live in so place. And it is called, for instance, NI in the United Kingdom and Social Security in the United States of America. And the other that I mentioned, anchored on a very viable and address that can be validated in India.
And they have a unique number that every person.
Absolutely. Since you are attaching an individual to where he lives, geolocation, and you are also capturing his facial recognition. That's a very powerful
So this is something
tool.
that could be taken on board by the administration to enhance the efficiency of the process.
Absolutely. There's no way you are going to succeed in doing all of this without laying the foundation. That is the foundation. And what is more, Mr. President has said that he wants to fight corruption by creating a credit economy. How do you create a credit economy without an addressing system? It is not enough for government to want to do it. The institutions, the banks, insurance companies, and all of those must buy into it. And the way to buy into it is that a bank is interested in lending money. But he will not want to lend if he does not know how to reach you, or he gives you money today, the following day,
You don't know where you are.
you don't know where you are. If you do that, even foreign investors will become enthusiastic to come to your jurisdiction and invest, knowing that, okay, things are improving, this is the way to go. This is by no means exhaustive of the mechanisms and strategies that we can adopt to lift people out of poverty. There are various other ones. Now, the buzzword in town is subsidy, palliative, cost of living. It's soaring. It's not unique to Nigeria. It's everywhere. But you need to look at your system and come up with homegrown mechanism that you will adopt to assist the people. It is not what they are entitled to really, but because we have found ourselves in this situation, because we need to change the ways we have been governing ourselves. I mean, Mr. President said that very few people who are fat cats have made so much money from the subsidy system. And people have made so much money from the dual exchange rate, where you can just sit down somewhere, and because you have one contact or the other, you are buying foreign exchange at a subsidized, huge subsidy, and then you go to the other market, and you sell, and you make a kill. All of that must stop.
Yeah, and part of the reason why that surprised me a bit, so to say, was the fact that everybody in Nigeria is supposed to be captured by the National Identification Number, aka NIN. So if you see certain movements, maybe everybody doesn't have access to see those movements, but certainly government, if it has the need, can see it. So why is nothing being done, and why are we now hearing that certain fat cats, you know, are able to do this and run rings all around us? I don't know. It was just a sort of a, shall I say?
No, to be honest with you, I'm not comfortable with the fact that we have some powerful people that have made so much money unfairly from the system
and are known.
And I know that we can't go after them.
Well, we can't do anything about it.
I mean, that to me is a surrender of the power of dominion of governance.
So we exactly.
That's a story for another day. we can urge government to wield the state machinery and ensure that they don't just get away with whatever they have unfairly made from the system. Having said that, I try to use my endowments, the training, the exposure that I had when I was Postmaster General to assist this country, because we have all it takes. So, if you permit me.
Well, sorry, I think they're trying to tell me something, but it's too low. Hello. Somebody has called in from. Dele has called in from Ikeja. Good morning to you, Dele.
Good morning, Mr. YORI.
Yes, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I think today's topic is generic on that English reform. Hello?
Hello, please continue.
Yeah, on the reform, you see, as regards to labor, I'm still a bit confused because they are saying unpopular or not masses-friendly reforms. Yeah, what are the masses or friendly masses reforms? I don't even know. Now, if you are talking of subsidy, we are there. Fine, teaching problems is difficult. You see, we are having these increases in prices because of the forex. But I don't know if government can also do this. Fine, we are floating the forex. Can government now say, okay, now, those of you that want to be imported, come, let's talk. I will pay directly. I won't give you because that was the corruption there. I will pay directly to wherever you are buying from and also, to intervene, to come in. So I say you get your product coming. Instead of giving them the money directly, you find yourself in a parallel market. You understand? I think government can also come in that aspect. I don't know. It's a suggestion. Then the other one, I don't understand labor. Labor, they are the one approving. They are the one signing these so-called subsidies. Why are they protesting? That's number one. Yes? Number two, when we have so many issues, the money is designing, we do see labor to protest, which actually affected the so-called masses. You understand? We do see labor. Now, labor is talking of refineries. I want to ask, is this Mr. YORI and Company Limited that are working at the refineries or NLC member? You need to know. So what is the grounds? I don't really know what they are protesting. Which is highly uncalled for. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Did you want to?
Okay, weighing on this labor issue.
Yes.
Well, labor wants to be seen as fighting for the masses, but they have to be very careful. Nigerian people want solution. I've had cause to advise one of them that, look, you can't just say you're opposing government. You should come up with how do you think government can navigate out of this difficult situation that we have found ourselves.
Which the president had explained that
oh,
they were
yes.
in talks with labor.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I believe that the talks they should continue with it. They should continue with the constructive engagement. This is not the time to,
reflexing.
Yeah, no. It's uncalled, particularly because, look, the federal government of Nigeria has done one thing that I commend. Decentralization of the subsidy palliatives
idea.
Yeah. That, look,
to states. So states are doing things on their own.
For goodness sake, the people who are going to buy or who are already buying PMS at a very high price are in various states. You are making money from them. The president has said that we need the last 1 month or thereabout. $1 trillion has been saved. Now, in plowing back that amount of money into the society, you should use the states anyway. So labor should find a way, also decentralize its own constructive engagement by ensuring that their affiliates in various states constructively engage the state government. I mean, the governors have been saddled with the responsibility of coming up with
their own
ideas and build up their social register. It was
some to have started.
Yeah, it was some. I mean, some governors said that the previous register under the previous regime was unreliable, was not credible. Now you have a responsibility. Now a challenge has been thrown to you that, okay, let's see what you can do. But none of you, I'm insisting, should not try to come up with a social register that is not tech-driven.
Okay.
That we cannot audit.
I get what
we must be able, at any point in time, either via freedom of information mechanism, we must be, yes.
Simply because of the sharp practices in the past
absolutely.
With this kind of Let me bring in Mr. Odukoya in Alakwere now. Good morning to you. Is Mr. Odukoya still there in Alakwere wanting to join the conversation? Apparently not,
So again, based on research work that has been done and feedbacks from the people who are holding the wrong end of the stakes, people say that they spend 70% of their income on transportation and food, which means if you find a way to help the people to navigate how you can bring down the cost of transportation, and then you can get people to have access to food, you will have been able to solve some of the problems. I have ideas that I believe the state governments can embrace if they like. One.
And sorry, sir, talking about this, I'm sure you're aware that Lagos State has put out there that, the fares on the, state buses are coming down by 50%.
Yeah.
In Ogun State, I believe that the governor there is investigating very seriously CNG.
Very well. So I'm particularly recommending the model that Ogun State government is doing regarding how to bring down the cost of transportation. Since we have agreed that 70% of our resources, we are spending it on transportation. What Ogun State government is doing regarding the CNG initiative
and food.
I'll come. I want to address them one after the other.
Okay.
Transportation, CNG. What does it mean? You're trying to convert the public means of transportation, the commercial vehicles, from PMS, that is 670 something or 700 naira per liter, to compressed natural gas, which will bring down their cost. That is commendable. I heard they have entered into some kind of agreement with some Indians that will come and train the trainers. If all the states in the federation can do that, at least the cost of transportation will be. Now for food.
But before we get there, let me bring in Mazi Okorafor, who has also called in. We'll go on to food. Good morning, Mazi Okorafor in Arochukwu.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess, in the studio. Yes, labor protest, Nigerian protest. What we should be looking at the angle today, we have come at a crossroads that we don't know what to do now. Like what the guest was just making some minutes ago about transportation. Look, 70% or 80% of Nigerians, they are not on their own in terms of mobility. They depend on public transport. I think state, local government should be given autonomy. That is let them arrange themselves. Provide this transport system. They have buses everywhere. If you go to Cotonou near Lagos, the buses are there looking for who will buy them. Or they can just move to the Togo is very fast. Take these buses, float it in all the if local government will get 50 buses in their own state, in their own local government, it will help cushion this effect of transportation. There's a lot of produce in the the farmers cannot have access to the road or have to get this thing to the market. That is the problem. If you go now and look for tomatoes, you see that tomatoes really face always the problem. You have
okay, I think we lost Mazi there. But, okay.
He has weighed in on transportation and then veered into the food security part of it.
Which was
the farmers
can't go to their farm.
Even when they have produce, they want to bring it to the urban areas to sell. The roads and whatever, they have challenge with it. That is the reason behind the infrastructure fund or bank or whatever that the president, intervention of the president. That's a good step in the right direction. At least we are talking about transportation and food now. Let us come up with ideas that will assist government in solving the problem. And that's why, as I've said earlier, what we could say government is doing regarding this, it should be replicated by all the states. That's one. Now, for the food aspects, this is my idea regarding how to subsidize people, and it will, in a way, also lead to increased farming. Let farmers constitute themselves into some kind of farmers' cooperative societies. They have their societies. Whatever farm produce they are coming up with, there must be off-takers. It will be government. It is either government will do it on local government basis and ensure that what the farmers are bringing, they buy from them at a slight premium. That is, if the goods are worth 100,000, for instance, pay them 120,000. It's an incentive for them to do more. You will produce more. When a farmer knows that once he produces, there's a ready market for it, he will increase his production. And then other people.
And then what happens when it has been sold at that premium, has been taken off the farmers, those people now have to be of good faith because they can go to 250,000.
No, the farmers are not going to sell themselves.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, the government is the off-taker. Okay. You are buying from the farmers through their farmers cooperative societies. Okay. You can use the instrumentality of the local government. The local government will now, in turn, sell these farm products to vulnerable Nigerians that have been captured on a reliable and credible social register at a slight discount.
Okay.
That's a way of subsidizing both ends.
Both ends.
And one hand is further encouraged to produce more. People who ordinarily would not be interested in farming will see the need to go into it.
There's a ready market for it.
There's a ready market for it. You're going to make money.
Okay, let me bring in Yakub in Dokwemo. Good morning to you, sir, and thanks for holding on.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
And then good morning to your guests.
Good morning,
sir. I think we need a lot of reform, and then Nigeria cannot wait any longer to see drastic change. And let me give you a typical example here. Even though I'm not pleased the way they are doing, I'm talking about the Senate now, this adoption, because the way they screen the nominees, we are expecting a lot of change in the sense that they need to treat them, they need to have a lot of questions. Let me give you a typical example, as I said. If not the Senate president yesterday, that threw a question to nominee from Oyo State, the person of Adelabu, and that Adelabu, yes. For now, nobody knew that we have 5 members of the central bank that qualified to be a governor of central bank. Because yesterday it got to my own personal notice as well that even though Emefiele, the former governor of central bank, he called him a central bank governor, we don't know that there's another 4 members that ought to be even in the same position. Yesterday, the man made us to know that even a dissenting opinion can even supersede the opinion that Emefiele always take to Mr. President as at that time. You know it? He is a central bank governor. He wanted always see Mr. President every time. Notify the other 4 members. You get it, sir? That is what made them so powerful. They can do anything. That's another thing. Because at that time, when they were printing the money, they were coloring the money. The deputy president, the deputy governor of central bank, they asked the woman that time that how much the cost you people to print this money. The woman said she don't know. Literally, imagine that yesterday the eyes was open. So that is why I'm saying now that a lot of banking reform needs to carry on. A lot of things to use the money that they were giving to local government now. Because now they have already removed the subsidy. Literally, that means that a lot of money will go to state and local government. So they need to set up a committee in various local governments so that they can monitor the chairman. Because this is the time that Nigerian citizens and local government at the grassroots level, they need to monitor their local government chairman because a lot of money are going to them. Now, how they utilize this money, we need to know.
Okay.
God bless you, sir.
All right. I'll tell you what. You heard that. But before you respond to it, let me go on a quick break and come back so that you don't have to be interrupted. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Lagos is the most visited state in Africa as the 5th largest economy on the continent. Covering the state and its government is no mean feat. It's a busy beat. We go beyond the curtain of tapes to traveling far into the deep.
I want to thank the Lagos State government for the healthcare facility.
To bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
We tell you stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Okay, welcome back. Still with Bisi Adegbuyi, immediate past Postmaster General, apart from being a legal practitioner. And we went to break right after Mr. Yakubu Ndokwemu called, and he, started off by saying that a lot of reforms are needed. And at the end, he sort of brought it up with even the local government chairmen are now going to have to be monitored because a lot more money is going to be coming their way for the people. Let it not be, I
don't know. I don't know what mechanism they want to use to get the local government chairman to have access to more money. I don't know. I'm yet to say that because it's a constitutional thing. The governors are powerful. Governors have been, rightly in my view, been accused of killing the local government because they are very... In
spite of the best efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari, for instance,
powerful.
who tried to go directly to them. But it didn't work.
It didn't work. So I agree with Mr. Yakub that we need a lot of reforms.
And well, if those reforms include the central bank, I'm sure Mr. Yakub is pleased to know that Mr. President has sent a special, what is it? Is it special investigator? Yeah.
Yes, a special investigator.
With vast powers to look into the goings-on.
Yeah, in the central bank. There are so many things. The NNPC, well, is being privatized. I mean, you have a corporate governance mechanism now there. But having said that, apart from the reforms that we have talked about, government must, as a matter of extreme urgency, also look inwards regarding the sacrifice they are asking people to make.
Okay.
You have been asking people to make sacrifices.
Yes.
Lead by example. You also should demonstrate that you are ready to be part of the sacrifice. It won't be fair, in my view, to continue to ask people to sacrifice and all of that. And you are not there are many ways you can go about that. That will be a discussion for another day.
Indeed, but on this program, we have often said that, look, there is a need for lowering the, reducing the size of government and consequent cost.
Cost of governance.
Exactly. Comrade Ayo in Oshogbo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
And good morning to our guest in the studio.
Yes.
Good morning.
Uncle
Yori, first and foremost, let me start by saying that for the very first time since our democratic experience since 1999, we have a president who seems to be committed to the job. The president's speech yesterday, day before yesterday, shows that he is so much committed to the job and to rule Nigeria. However, having said that, Uncle Yori, I believe that the government should come out with solutions, short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. For short-term solution, I don't believe in monetary palliative. I believe palliative should be geared towards the reduction of food, because the ordinary man on the street do not understand the definition of subsidy removal except the reduction in food prices. So the government should immediately do something towards the reduction of food prices. The medium-term solution is to improve on agricultural produce. For instance, in Osun State, as we speak, we have about 3 farm settlements who, if properly utilized, can produce food for the whole of Southwest. So governors of each state should be directed towards agricultural production. Then the long-term solution is for our refineries to work. Definitely, if our refineries are not working, the problem will continue to persist. But if the refineries are working, then we will solve our problem, if not permanently, to a very large extent.
Indeed.
Furthermore, sir, as government, the government should also be proactive. Proactive in the sense that these people who are stealing our money, these people who are so corrupt, they are not gods. They are not bigger than the country. If the government is serious, these people should be brought to book and prosecuted for people to see that these are the people who are crippling our economy and stealing our money.
Indeed.
How on earth will somebody get money from CBN, dollars from CBN at the official rate, go to the black market and sell? And those who are genuinely who need this dollar to solve the problem, our economic problem, don't have access to it. They want to go to the black market and buy it. This is some of our problems. So these people should be brought to book.
I want to thank you, Comrade Ayo. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Comrade Ayo, for calling in from Osogbo with those ideas. Immediate, medium, and long term.
So, Comrade Ayo, you have spoken very well. I agree with him, but there are challenges.
Of course.
So, directing the governors to concentrate on agriculture is a good way to go. It's a good advice. But in practical times, it's impossible. Why? Agriculture has a gestation period. It requires lots of planning. Governors know that if they don't embark on road construction, infrastructure, bridges, and all of that, that people will say, they're not going to be elected for a second term. That is a major, major issue. It's political reform that will take care of that. For the submission on food, I agree with him absolutely. And part of my intervention here is how can we urgently, at least to engender food security, we still can do some things that will make agriculture a little attractive to people who are already involved in it, who carry out agriculture as a means of livelihood. They can make money from it. You can make it attractive.
Value chain.
Yeah, the value chain. Yes, you can do it in such a way that people who are not involved in it will see that rather than sit down at home, not doing anything, if you know there will be a ready market for your goods and produces, you're going to make money. They will up on the train and be part of it. And then, of course, the general challenges regarding how to move farm products from the hinterland to the urban areas, infrastructure, and all of that.
So all of those will still be present. I beg your pardon for interrupting. Will still be present because even though President Tinubu also spoke about, we have to begin to look at a year-round, agricultural season. This matter about, if we can now just, get ourselves to that place, which can be done because it goes back to science and technology.
It requires, Mr. President requires all our support. And he has, in fact, enjoined the governors to work with him in order to make life, worth living for our people, because times are really hard. And cost of living is very, very, very high, unbearable.
It is.
So
and he said he's aware.
Yeah.
That was very important. Situation.
Alluding to what Comrade Ayo said the other time, that it appears to be the first time since 1999 that you see a president that is committed to the job and is listening to what people are saying.
Apparently.
Let's keep ideas coming. After all, they were going to embark on 8,000 naira monetary palliative stipend to people, and people criticized it. And the government said, well, I've heard you. You don't like this mechanism. He has dropped it like an hot potato. And he has
there are alternatives.
Alternatives
that we're going to be
which to me that if we support him, and again, it bears repetition, make sure you deploy technology to work with it.
Indeed.
We will.
Mr. George Calling in from Ikeja. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Yeah, thank you.
Uncle Yori, please, I want to say two things. One, your guest has talked severally about this postal data integration. I want to ask him, his ideas, are they, or is it possible to match it with this upcoming population census that is coming? Is it something he can integrate his ideas with the National Population Commission so that we'll have a data that can embrace everything that we're looking for in Nigeria in terms of data? That's one. Number two is the topic of today's discussion is Tinubu's reform and unease with labor. Labor, as I said yesterday, is just on a political campaign. They are not protesting for the sake of the people. Everybody knows that. And you can see that the protest is failing or has already failed. But what I expected labor, if we had labor, what I expected labor to do is to study the presentation of the government and see how implementation of those ideas can reach the people that they are claiming that they are protecting. The government has said, I'm going to give you 3,000 buses, CNG buses. How is 3,000 going to reach the people? Who and who? How many will go to each local government? How long will it take? What is the process? Who is in charge? We want to know. We want to ensure that it gets to the people. 75 people, 75 industries will get 1 billion naira loan. Who are these people? What are they going to do? And in what sector? And how is it realizable? Who is in charge? That's what I said labor to be doing. But they are not interested in all those. They have not come up with any single suggestion as to what the government should do. They think that they are still living in the past. They remove subsidy. Subsidy is done. And it is high time we realize that a new dawn has come to Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. George. Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in.
Thank you, Mr. George. Let me publicly say here that I'm going to make the technology at my disposal formally available to Nigerian Population Commission. I will write an official letter, and I want to do it free of charge. It will help Nigerian Population Commission because it's geolocation.
Yes.
And we must ensure that what they have done, they have acquired some technology to look at satellites, map, but mine is much more granular because it has gone to the minutest of details. 3 meters by 3 meters grid. It will capture everywhere, everybody.
Which must be what the population people want.
Yeah. You remember that when we were trying to set agenda for the president-elect after,
when he was president.
When he was president-elect, I came here and said, population, at the time that they wanted to do it, don't go area. They're not going to be able to contend with 3 major issues that are divisive. Look, people know that they use population as a means of sharing the national cake. So even if you do it in a way that is the best, people will still dispute it anyway. Yeah. Don't do it in an election year. Okay? We are still battling with the issue of where we have gone to tribunal, we have not gone to tribunal. And then you're also going to withdraw subsidy. That has been withdrawn. So I agree with Mr. George. In the course of his submission, if you listen very carefully, he alluded, or he made reference to the issues I've raised there. The principle of who, where, and how. Everything government wants to do, please bear in mind, for God's sake, that the principle of who are you, digital identification, where do you live, digital address, and how, mechanism of how you want to do it. Those are conditions precedent for you to be able to achieve, some measure of success.
So there's a sense in which you identify with.
Absolutely, I agree with. And then for the labor,
okay,
voice populi, voice there.
Yes.
The people on whose behalf labor is purporting to act are saying that you need to change your strategy. that, hey, we have a president who is determined, who is committed, who is listening. So come up with ideas in practical terms.
Yes.
And they should be able to work together.
If you can't work together. Mr. Balogun in the UK, good morning to you, sir. Mr. Balogun in the UK. Oh.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay, then. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Good morning. Yes, sir. Uncle Yori, thank you very much. Good morning, Uncle Yori. Okay. Concerning Labour, sir, let's start. Labour has nothing to offer. I'm sorry to say with that. Due respect to them. Because the same Labour that are talking today, they said, blah, blah, with them with what they are saying. But who are talking in this NNPC that turned into Komaso? Are they my employer? Are they not members? What have they done about it?
Is someone playing with a dialing pad there? A dial tone is interrupting your speech. Can you still hear us, Mr. Balogun? He's not there anymore, but just in case you're listening now, Mr. Balogun, as you were speaking, it looked as if a child was playing with a dialing pad, which I know would not have been the case. In fact, I don't know when I last saw a dialing pad, but, you know, he was coming up there that as far as he was concerned, he wasn't getting the vibe from Labour that he thought he should have been getting. I've rephrased what he said, you know, but that was the way he said it.
Labour must change its strategy. You can see people are calling and they're being critical of Labour. It simply means that, well, what people expect from them, they're not getting.
That's not what they're getting.
That's not what they are getting.
Complaints of
and therefore, it is incumbent on, and I can also call Labour out here. I mean, I love Nigeria. Nigeria has spent money on me in training and all of that. When the issue of $800 million subsidy palliatives came into the open, I wrote a letter to the World Bank introducing my technology that will assist the government ensuring that you have a register that is reliable, credible. And I sent a copy of the letter to the World Bank, to Nigeria Labour Congress. Not even a courtesy of acknowledgement of that letter, let alone engaging somebody who has an idea, who has a technology that can assist the government in resolving some of these issues. So,
in any case, when Labour's position, before 2 days ago when President Tinubu spoke to the nation, one would have expected that, well, because the president even said that they were, that is the federal government and Labour, were in discussions to see how we can, you know, raise the minimum wage and come up with some other kind of things. One didn't expect Labour to come back after that, although I read one report saying that Labour was saying that we're looking at we're reviewing our situation. But then you're also seeing people who are saying that we're still going to go ahead with
I think they found themselves between a rock and a hard place. And a hard place, you know. And
because President Tinubu coming out and speaking and telling the mind of government.
Labour can recalibrate.
Yes, yes.
They engage the government on two major issues, pressing issues that have bearing on cost of living, you know, the food transportation, I mean the cost of living, the transportation part of it. People are saying we are spending 70% of our money to transport ourselves from one place to the other, and then the issue of food security.
Exactly.
Some of the ideas I have dropped there in the course of the discussion, and I don't think I need to repeat them.
No. Ola in Ogba. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Uncle Yori?
Very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
And good morning to your friends, too.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
I have one or two points to make. Honestly, maybe I will just add that, in my own opinion, it will appear President Bola Tinubu is not as smart as I expected. I would expect that by now, the National Orientation Agency, which is the most useless government agency in Nigeria, should have been moved from Ministry of Information to the presidency so that they can appoint competent people to push out his ideas to every corner of this country. He doesn't seem to be doing that. National Orientation Agency is just as dead as anything. That's number one. Number two, the issue of refineries. We all know what we are going through in Nigeria. Everybody expects, in his last broadcast, we all expected him to talk about refinery. If government wants to take them over, repair them, put them to work, fine. Tell Nigerians. If you want to privatize them, tell Nigerians. Let Nigerians know your plan for the refineries. You cannot just keep quiet on the refineries. Bearing in mind that this refinery issue is a major issue in what's going on in this country today. Then number three, we're talking of agriculture. If you say, okay, all over the states want them to go into agriculture, back to agriculture. When will that start? Let us start now. There are crops that you can go in 2 months, in 3 months. All you need to do is mobilize soldiers if you have to. Mobilize some police if you have to give farmers the necessary security so that they can produce all over the country. In Benue, in Plateau, in Sokoto, they can produce tomatoes, they can produce pepper, they can produce so many things in a short time. But then on the long time, you can be talking of oil palm, you can be talking of yam, and every yam will take about a year. But common vegetables will not take more than 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
You can't do all this.
All right, then. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much, Mr. Ola, calling in from Ogba. He majored on the National Orientation Agency, refineries, and then agriculture.
Valid point. I agree with him that the National Orientation Agency should be reinvigorated so that you can carry along the people with your plans, what you want to do for the people, how you want to live them out of poverty. I agree. Refinery seems to be the elephant in the room. And I think it is deliberate. Mr. President did not say anything regarding it. I don't think those refineries can be rehabilitated anymore. I'm not an expert. But from what I've read, from my interaction with experts, it does appear to me that they have become scraps. Don't quote me. If a president... We know that if we have refineries working, okay, the cost of refining and all of that will come down, and then PMS per liter will come down. You know, but you need money to do that. I mean, if a government, this president inherited a government that has been spending 97 or 95% of resources on debts, on recurrent expenditure. In business, that's not it's not a going concern. Ordinarily should have, gone bankrupt.
That's right.
So why would that government get money to fix the refineries? They have done turnaround maintenance for so many years. We have not seen any
waste.
It's a waste. Maybe it's a no-go area, and Mr. President, being a financial expert that he is, knows that this is not the way to go. Now, you are saving money from subsidy. It's not as if the money is somewhere. Okay, so the money you are saving, you're going to get from that. You must wisely spend the money and not go into a kind of bottomless rehabilitation. If, because of technology, what you have is more or less a scrap, you better cut your losses and move on so that we don't have this kind of sentimental, attachment to our refineries must work here. That's the right thing to do in the circumstance. To build new refineries, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Of course.
And government does not have that money. Of course.
And then we've spoken about agriculture.
Absolutely.
He said that there's very little.
We have to.
Well, this is the kind of conversation. It's about Nigeria. We could go on for ages. Unfortunately, we don't have that time. But I think we've highlighted that there is a need to juxtapose or link records keeping,
absolutely,
in order for the success of whatever the presidency is thinking about.
Let's be part of this new, digital economy that is driven by technology. Even security.
Indeed.
You will be surprised that, and we know that substantial part of our problem regarding security is because we have proliferation of small arms and what have you. How do they come into Nigeria?
Well, we're going to have to leave it there with that rhetorical question, because a lot of people can begin to guess. There's this insincerity of our people.
Because you have consignors that put in fake addresses we should be able to know whatever you are importing, where they are going into. It is also encapsulated under the principle of who, where, and how.
Indeed. And what the president said about, well, the president would have been speaking from knowledge that there are fat cats. There are fat cats in the system. For now, we can't say much more about that. But I want to thank you very much, Asiwaju Bisi Adegbuyi, Asiwaju Odiremo, legal practitioner and immediate past Postmaster General of the country.
Thanks for having me. It's
All right, it's our pleasure. Indeed, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am YORI FOLARIN.
I've tried everything.